Well, claims I'm live, but we shall see. Let's see. Oh, yeah. We're good. Well, for right now, I'm just talking to myself, but hi, self. Hi, self. Actually, I had to make these jigs anyway, so I figured, what the heck? To see if anybody's online. It was kind of a weird day, weird time. But why not, right? So I guess anybody's going to watch this on the replay. Got a bunch of crappie jigs I got to make. Got a bunch of 1/16 ounce. Let's see. That's pretty close to what you're going to get. Still got to cut the sprue off and everything, but got in total about 70 of these things I got to make. So don't worry, I'm not going to do this for all 70. Sorry about that. So yeah, I think I'm still talking to myself for a little while, but that's cool. Just making up these jigs. I got like I said before, about 70 or so of them to make. But and I'm not going to bore everybody who does watching the replay for 70 of them. Let's see. There we go. Oh, hey, James. See you popped in there. Some of these are yours, actually, bud. Thank you for popping in. John, Small Water, what's up, brother? This is kind of the way this is going to work. In order to get stuff done, I kind of got to look down here. So I'll be reading the chat and turning my head that way every so often. But I got to get all these done because James wants his. He's been slaying some freaking crappie. I haven't watched your latest, James, but I saw you got a bunch of them. And then Chris Bogley's keeping it real, hit me up the other day. He needs a bunch, so might as well take advantage of the nice South Florida weather. All right, cool, John. I appreciate it, man. See, my jigs aren't live scope ready. Don't you have to have some kind of weird something in the metal, I think, so that the live scope picks them up? I know you're kidding, but and yeah, I appreciate that, John. If you want to do something like that, that's cool. I'm not like I said, this is more of a incredibly impromptu thing. I had to make the jigs anyway. And I haven't talked to anybody this year yet because I haven't posted any videos or anything, so I figured I'd see who's up and about. in reference to me looking down. I get it now. I thought you were talking about because, you know, they make the jig heads now that I guess are supposed to be hypersensitive to the sonar. So you can actually watch the fish eat your jig under the water and all that cheating mess, or whatever side of that argument everybody's on. Actually, I have to order some more of these hooks too. These are the eagle claws I really like using for these crappie jigs anyway. And my best source of these, believe it or not, is on eBay. Well, that is the truth. Because I've been on that pontoon with you. You guys throw a lot of freaking rods out. But results speak for themselves. You guys do tend to pull in a whole bunch. And I would imagine these would work, I don't know, similar. I mean, if you stuck a live bait to it, the problem is that these are weighted. Oh, you know what, James? We were talking before about the paint getting mushy on these things. I think I discovered the problem with that. I don't believe it's actually the paint. After I put the eyes on, hold on a second. After I put the eyes on these jigs, little Sally Hansen's hard as nails goes on over the top, and I think this is probably what's creating that mush you were talking about. I think. I don't know for certain. But I think, in fact, with this batch, I'm going to test that by just dropping a finished one into some water and seeing what happens. Oh, of course it works, live bait on jig heads. Absolutely. But I think the way they do it, like working in the pontoon with that whole spider rig, the way they got that going, the free swimming action of the minnow, I think works really well out there. Yeah, Sally apparently might be the one getting mushy in the water. Doesn't seem to affect all of them. Well, that might blow that theory out the water then. But that's the one thing I could think of, because the powder coat shouldn't. I mean, there's nothing in the powder coat that should do that. I mean, yeah, you're a machinist. You're familiar with powder coat and how that works. So really nothing that should be doing it there. The only thing I could have thought of would be the nail polish top coat. I've made so many of these 1/16 ounce jigs that the mold is actually a little worn in that spot, and it doesn't want to close all the way sometimes. That's a good thing. In fact, I got a new mold coming. It should be here tomorrow. Oh, yeah, tomorrow. So if that comes tomorrow, I'll probably do a video on it next week. I don't know if it's the water, James. I really don't, because I'll be honest with you, I don't tend to keep these long enough for them to get that, soaked. They tend to break off and snag on something long before I generally have any issues. In fact, I've made that comment a few times about baking the powder coat on my own personal stash. I don't usually bother because I'm going to lose the thing long before a little bit of chipped lead bugs me. So it could be the water. Yes, both of you, please hit that like. I would appreciate it. No, I honestly didn't expect much to happen with this live. It was more of just an impromptu. I had to make the things anyway. Why not pop around, see who's online? And then kind of bouncing with the weather here right now, too. It keeps threatening to rain, and I can't do all this in the rain. I'm in my garage, and you see by that car that just ran by how close we are, like to the garage door. If it were to rain and start blowing in this way, this lead pot would explode. So that's kind of what dictated the time of me doing this, because we do not want to explode me on camera Well, it would probably be good for views. It might put me out of commission for a while. Detroit Bassin, what's up, bro? Thanks for popping in. I appreciate you. Listen, I really didn't know who was going to be able to pop in. I know it was kind of a weird time. I didn't give a whole lot of notice. It just quite honestly wasn't the plan. I just wanted to get these things made. Because I can always, cut the screws and grind them and paint them really at any time. But this part I got to do with the door open so I don't, get too much lead poisoning. And I mean, a little bit's okay, right? What's a fairly warm day in Louisiana? Because it is here too. Let's see. What do we got today? Right now, aside from the chance of rain, I'm showing 66 degrees, which is actually today's high, for me anyway. 53% chance of rain. It keeps bouncing around all over the place. And the low today is 62, so it doesn't bounce around too much. And that's down here in South Florida. 55 is a fairly warm day. Interesting. No, John, you're doing great with them paint shapes. What's funny is I grew up doing this anyway, because my dad and I used to make a lot of our own ammunition when I was a kid. And we'd walk up and down, if you're familiar with the area, we'd walk up and down Sunrise Boulevard, kind of near the swap shop. And we'd just pick up all the lead wheel weights that would fall off the tires. And until we either found enough or got sick of walking around, then we'd run back home, melt them down, clean them, and make bullets. And that was usually our Saturday deal. And then on Sunday, we'd go to the range and shoot them. So I've been messing with lead, good part of the life. 31 last night. Yeah, it was weird last night was kind of warm and rainy. There was no, actually pretty nasty. It seems to be that way. If I have to work, it's a beautiful day. But lately, every time I've been off of work, it's been gloomy and rainy, and ain't that just the way it goes? Well, but anybody just joining me, maybe there's some people non-active or something, but I'm basically making these 1/16 ounce crappy jig heads. James from Crankin' Yankin', Chris from Bogley's Keeping It Real, they all needed some. And while I'm just doing the lead part now, I'll show you what a finished product will look like. What it should somewhat look like anyway. That's a slightly different hook. And that one's going to be in the hot pink. And you see that little plastic keeper on there, which is what makes these great jigs. It's that little plastic keeper. I could get the little ball head jigs, and actually it'd be a whole lot easier too, because the ball head jigs, I can get a whole mold like this, all in like 1/16 ounce, and I can mold, half a dozen at a time. Right now I got to do them one at a time because I've only got one cavity that's 1/16 of an ounce. But I really like that plastic keeper, and that other one doesn't have it, so it's worth it. And the eye is a nice touch. I use 2D eyes on these things. They end up looking pretty good. Miss anybody? Steve from Wyoming. Hey, Steve. Thanks for popping in, bro. I appreciate it. I've seen you making some jigs too. I actually didn't know you did that until I saw you making that one with the swim bait head. The keeper is awesome. Yeah, it is, James. I really, to me, it makes the difference in the jig for sure. It really does do a good job holding the plastic on there. And if anybody's watching this for bait making purposes, the keeper we're talking about is that one there. It's the WB 400 from Do It Molds. And I'm currently using a Eagle Claw 570 size 2 hook on these crappie jigs. Which has been a real good hook. Like I said, I get them on eBay because my normal suppliers, all I can get from like the Barlows and the bigger companies, all I can seem to get are the bronze hooks. And I don't personally mind the bronze hooks. I use them, but I know the black hooks are the black nickel are more sought after. And I got this one guy on eBay who sells them at the right price, but the shipping's a little high, so I try to order more than one thing at a time because he'll combine shipping and all that. Yeah, this has turned out to be a great little mold. I don't do this to make money off of it, but this mold has paid for itself like 3 or 4 times over. With the amount of jigs that I've made for myself and not had to buy any, plus the ones I've made you guys. And I just recently started buying lead, from Do It. I'll buy these big ingots or whatever. But prior to that, and I still have a few left, reach in front of the camera. These are just bullets that, I don't load. A buddy of mine gave them to me from a yard sale. And they actually got little wax in the rings and everything already. So they're almost self-cleaning too. You pop them in the pot, you get a little puff of smoke, sometimes a little flame, and you just scrape all the junk off the top. But the lead I've been buying from Do It is very clean stuff. You can just kind of drop it in there and roll with it. A lot of this is actually lead my dad gave me. He was goofing around the other day and made a bunch of lead, like in a muffin tin, little pucks. And with the cost of metal these days, any free lead is good. Cloudy in the 60s, yeah. Those hooks are, yeah. Well, that's the idea, they're just good hooks. Eagle Claw gets a bad rap sometimes, and I don't know why. I think, once you start selling something in Walmart, people kind of frown upon it, but they make good stuff. In fact, the majority of what I use, I'd say a quarter of it's Eagle Claw. I got Eagle Claw, Mustad hooks, VMC hooks, and these Victory hooks from Do It molds. I've got a few molds that take those that I've been using, and they are right up there with the Mustad and the VMC quality. I've had zero issues with them, and they're a whole bunch cheaper too. It's basically the same price, but like with the Mustad, I'll get 50. With the Victory, I'll get 100. And I've been fishing. I made a new jig that I talked about in my last few videos. I don't know if I have one up here or not that I could show you, but I'll show you at some point. But I've been, it calls for a Mustad head, and I've been using the Victories in its place. You can't tell the difference. They're fantastic. I missed somebody. Weather looks awesome. Hey, Cody, 33 and pouring in snow. Where are you, Cody, where you're pouring with snow? It's definitely warmer south. That's for sure. But there's drawbacks. If you go too far south, we don't get seasons down here. We basically got summer and tourist season. That's pretty much it. And there's slightly less hot summer, and then there's muggy summer. And those are the South Florida seasons. Yeah, I'm about 2 hours, give or take, from John over at Small Water Char. I'm about 2 hours south of him, and that 2 hours down here in Florida makes a heck of a difference. I'm generally going to be a bit warmer than he is up there. West Virginia, okay. Eagle Claw worm hooks. It's been probably a really long time since I used those. I used to be a diehard Gamakatsu guy, the Gamakatsu hooks, and then another channel, Deepak Fishing Outdoors, Doug, he turned me on to Hayabusa hooks. And if I could buy them locally, they'd be the perfect hook. But unfortunately, no one seems to stock them. So I got to order them online all the time, which kind of sucks. But they're a fantastic hook. They don't bend out. They don't break. I've never lost a fish, because of like a bad hook or whatever. And even the Gamakatsus are the exact same way. They're really, really good hooks. I think the Hayabusa are slightly lighter wire, which I like. And they do have a coating on them. I guess it'd be similar to that Berkeley coating that they put on their hooks. And I don't know. I really enjoy them. They've been great. Let's see. I'm going to catch up a little bit. Bad skeeter season. Yeah, I forgot about skeeter season. That's, I actually got bit by a mosquito the other night, John. I was sitting outside with my wife and got bit by a mosquito. And it was, in the low 60s. Little bastards won't die. That is the new truck out there. That's the tail light of the Silverado right there. So far, I've been doing well for me. It's my first Chevy truck, right? Yeah, I've owned a couple Chevy cars. My first Chevy truck, and I think it was just time to get rid of the Challenger. It was a cool, very cool car. I had a lot of fun with it, but the only thing you can haul with that thing is ass. No boats, no kayaks, not much. I mean, John, you saw me going down Donkeyland Road. That was comical, I'm sure. But yeah, it was definitely time for a pickup truck. Prior to the Challenger, excuse me, that's really all I drove. I trying to remember the last car I had, but for the most part, it was pickup trucks prior to the Challenger. Then, you know, I hit 40 and said, hey, I want to do something different. And I overcorrected, went way wrong direction. Hey, Shannon. Hey, no worries, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah, please say hi for me, dude. But I appreciate you popping in and saying, hey, dude. Say hi to your mom for me. Shannon Kirby. I'm not sure if you're still in here. He's an excellent, excellent supporter of the channel. Good friend. Good dude. Offered a company truck. See, I don't. I'm not branded like that. I don't care. See, if company trucks, at least in my experience, usually come with free insurance and no car note. And the last company truck I had was also free gas because you had a credit card. So as long as it was for, you know, business purposes, you slap all that. So you had no insurance payment, no truck payment, no gas, and you still got everywhere you had to be. Yeah, I'd drive any brand for that. That's that part of the reason that made this decision easier was that it was cheaper than the Challenger. But yeah, as long as they didn't restrict your mileage or something, I don't know. My last truck was an F-150, and that was a hell of a truck. It wasn't until the transmission finally blew on me and a few other issues that I decided to get the Challenger. Yeah, I was way behind you because I couldn't do more than like 15 miles an hour in a sport suspension down a dirt road. Oh, my Ford's been great. Yeah, I've only owned the one F-150, but it's definitely the first truck I can honestly say I would buy again. My Dodge Dakota was garbage. I hated that thing. Transmission blew on that truck. I want to say it was like 30-something thousand miles. It was garbage. Yeah, the F-150 was great. You say you're not the best oil changer. I think I rode that F-150 well beyond its recommended oil change times. I was pretty good about it in the Challenger. I don't put a lot of mileage on vehicles, though. I live 5 minutes from work. My daughter basically takes the bus to and from school. Everything's pretty congested down here in South Florida, so I don't have to put a whole lot of miles on. So, you know, even the gas guzzling aspect of the Challenger didn't bother me too bad. My Ford's been great, even though you neglect them, yeah. If it quits dripping oil, it's time to add it. Yeah. I mean, if it's working for you so far, why not, right? You get all that too. Just no for personal use, so no pulling a trailer. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense, dude. That makes more sense. Yeah, if they let you have it for personal use, that'd be a different story. You know, my dad had a company truck, and they did allow him for personal use, but he had to like clock his mileage and whatever, and he was like he had to pay back his boss for like his personal use on the truck. It worked out well for him, but I don't know, you know, how often you're pulling a boat and how far it is to, you know, your watering holes there. Wow, talking to you guys and doing this, that I burned right through that. So on camera, I think I made 40 of these things, and I made 30 prior to going live. That went pretty quick. Your truck's 20 years old? Okay, mine's 10. But I bought it that way, so it's one payment new to me, but it's 10 years old technically. I do want to thank everybody for popping in. I know it's kind of a weird day, weird time. Like I said, I'm kind of fighting weather here. Once I got these poured, I wasn't worried about it. I could paint them and whatever at any given point in time. But I had to get them poured at least first. You know, now that they're the poured, what I got is poured. So now I just got to cut that sprue off, and the sprue will go right back into the lead pot. I'm actually out here in shorts and flip-flops and a sleeveless shirt in January. So there are some bonuses to living down here, that's for sure. But there we go. That one still needs a little bit of TLC with the file, but then that one's good to go. I don't get that whole Ford Ranger thing. I must have missed something. But I've seen that on Instagram or whatever, the people screaming about a Ford Ranger. Oh, you drive an 04 Ranger every day. Okay. I think it was a Ford Ranger that I learned how to drive stick. It was my buddy's Ford Ranger back in high school. So this was probably 94, 95, somewhere in that. Yeah, probably closer to 95, 96. And he had a Ford Ranger. And I think at that point, the thing was 10 years old. And it was a stick shift. Ow, stabbed myself live. Stick shift, and it was a really, really wobbly box. And he's like, dude, if you can learn on this thing, you can learn on anything. And yeah, he was true. You know, I learned on his truck and haven't had a problem driving stick since. I'm not familiar with that one. Courier? Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one. No, I guess I run in a different circle, John. I don't know what you're talking about with that one. I was actually just on the phone a few minutes ago with Chris Bogley before we went live. He was at work, but he wanted to join. Especially when I told him I was working on these. Okay. Now, when I was shopping for the Chevy that I just got, I didn't really care what truck I was getting. Like, it wasn't a brand issue or anything else. I was going for used. I was going for, at least somewhat affordable in today's, car buying world anyway. And I looked at pretty much everything, the F-150s, quite a few Toyotas out there that I looked at. I purposely didn't look at any more Dodge. Unfortunately, I've had some bad issues with Dodge, so I didn't look for them too much. But the biggest problem I was running into is either I couldn't get a bed. They either had these little tiny, like 4.5, 5.5 foot beds, or I can get a longer bed, but only a 2-door in the cab. I just dropped lead. I picked that up. I don't want to lose that. That's probably a good 20 cents worth of lead right there. But yeah, so yeah, the vehicle market sucks. It's ridiculous. I knew going into it that I'd have a slight struggle, but I'd never expected to only be able to afford a 10-year-old vehicle. Now, I will say, for it being 10 years old, the original owner took great care of the thing. You can run down the Carfax on it, and like pretty much everything down to the windshield wipers, they got done at a dealership. So there's records for days. It's only got 77,000 miles on it when I bought it. And again, I don't put a whole lot of mileage on my truck, so it should be a good truck for me. And I've already been able to throw the kayak in the back. And as I said, so far so good. 5.7 bed, roomy. Yeah, my brother-in-law drives a Ram, and it's a very roomy truck. Yeah, but this Silverado is pretty roomy for what it is too. It's definitely wider and bigger on the inside than my F-150 was. Which I guess because my Dakota was a small truck. My buddy had an S10 that I helped him out with for the longest time. It's funny. He was a Ford mechanic for 15 years and drove a Chevy. So that might say something. I don't know. But need a true 4-door with a back seat. Right, for the Chargers. That makes sense. Yeah, mine is, they don't consider it 4 full doors, but they're bigger than half doors. I think, I'm trying to remember what Chevy was calling it. A double cab, I believe, was the term they used. But you can easily fit, 2 full-size adults and then a little skinnier one in the back seat of my truck. Camera angles for this stuff is hard. So if anybody's playing at home, all I'm doing is cutting the sprue off of all these jigs. Next step will be to file them down, and then we'll slap some paint and eyeballs, which I know the fish probably don't care if they're painted with eyeballs. But speaking of paint, James, you had asked for chartreuse. Are you okay doing that chartreuse knockoff or whatever you want to call it, the alternative that we used last time? Because if not, I will get you a jar of chartreuse. I just have not had a chance. But see, the problem is I can't buy a lot of the stuff locally. I have to order it, and the minimums with shipping and everything else, it's a kind of a nightmare. So you let me know how you feel about that. That was Bold Gill, I believe, was the color we settled on. It's chartreuse adjacent. You know, it's pretty close. And now you guys also don't, I'm actually looking at the StreamYard version. I know you guys are on YouTube, so there's a little bit of a delay too. So I'm not ignoring anything. I just see it differently. Counts me out as a third wheel. No, you just I got, full-size bed, John. I got you, bro. Wanted a 2010 standard cab Chevy, F-150. My brother-in-law swears by the Rams. He absolutely loves them. I mean, my father had a couple back in the day, and I think he said the older ones were good to him, but the newer ones he wasn't a fan. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. It's a good color, and it's kind of, chartreuse adjacent. And I got yours in chartreuse black, and I assume the same red you got last time. And then Mr. Bogley wants hot pink and white. He's going a little more traditional crappy colors, or croppy colors, or spec colors, or whatever the heck you call the things. Oops. I shot that little. The sprues kind of look like little Hershey Kisses. But don't eat them. Not advising you to eat them. Well, yeah, I know I said a skinny guy. That's why I told you I had the whole back of the truck for you, homie. We got you. Trust me, dude. The camera only adds 10 pounds. The holidays added the rest. I'm right there with you, dude. Actually, I tell you what, I quit smoking, for those of you who don't know. August was a year since I had a cigarette. And it was also, I was about 25 pounds lighter back then, too. So, I don't know. I've swapped heart disease for obesity, I guess. We'll see which one does worse. But it is nice not being a smoker. Those are all ready to go. Yeah. Well, that's honestly part of the reason I went for what I went with, so I wouldn't be upside down. I sold the Challenger to CarMax. They gave me what I think was more than a fair deal, which means I'm missing something, I'm sure. I do know, I think this year was the last year they made that Hemi engine that I had in there. They're not going to start rolling them out with that engine anymore, so that could be part of it. It was also a very low mileage Dodge Challenger for the years that I had it. So they gave me a really, really good price on it, enough to pay off the Challenger, what I owed the bank, and I was able to put a little over 10 grand down on the Chevy. So at least I'm not upside down on the Chevy. That is nice. Quitting cigarettes, man, that's tough. I've quit a lot of other shit. Quitting smoking was probably the toughest one, though. But I tell you, we'll give COVID credit where it's due. That's pretty much what happened to me. Was when I got COVID, and either I couldn't taste anything for about 2 weeks, or everything I did taste tasted like crap for about 2 weeks. And I basically locked myself in the bedroom because I didn't want my family getting sick. So I basically went a full week in the bedroom and then 2 more weeks without being able to taste anything. Cigarette just didn't appeal to me anymore. And, you kind of get over the nicotine thing after a little while. I still, like my wife still smokes, so sometimes she'll light one up and I still kind of want one. Or I'll have a couple beers with my dad. That itch kind of kicks in. But it seems to go away pretty quick. I definitely don't miss it or the money I was spending on it, that's for sure. I know cigarettes are cheaper down here. I know a buddy of mine in New York said they were like $10 a pack minimum. But down here, I was still paying $7 a pack, and I was smoking a pack a day. So, that's a bass boat after not too long, Easy life, yeah, it does me too. So I was catching up, seeing what I missed. Oh, you quit smoking too? Cool, man. Smoking keeps away. Well, I guess there is actually chemicals in cigarettes that I guess do. That's why all the models back in the day used to smoke cigarettes. But and that was my last real vice. I got to be honest. I drink barely at all anymore. I go out with my dad. I'll have a beer or two with him every once in a while. But for the most part, I basically don't drink. I quit smoking. I never, really smoked anything heavier than Camels. But yeah, so I'm just old, boring, and a little fatter than before. But hell, at least I can make jigs, right? I quit and started the vape. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the problem. I see a lot of people do that. They go to the vape, and that's all you did. You swapped one for the other. But you're right. The cigarette smell is that's a big one. But and the vaping thing, I mean, some people get crazy with that. There's like, you can customize a little thing you're filling with juice, and you can get flavors like cheesecake and stuff. So I guess didn't they get rid of menthol cigarettes because it was appealing to kids, where you can get cheesecake flavored vape? Thought that was weird. So you use it just to help stop smoking. That's I mean, I guess if you use it as a crutch and you can get yourself off of it, I guess that makes sense. But it's too new of a thing, so they don't really know the long-term effects. But you think about it logically, it's vaporizing, your water vapor is basically what it is that you're putting into your lungs, and that's how people drown, right? So theoretically, it's probably not great for you. But we already know cigarettes are bad, so I guess at least you don't stink. Yeah, probably. You stop doing once, you just hit the other one a little harder. Trying to think, how long have I been doing this? Oh, only 37 minutes, huh? I don't know. I got a bunch of different jigs. Anybody want to see something? I can basically make everything. I'm trying to think if I need anything like in my personal stash. I don't think so. I think I'm pretty well caught up right now. But say if not, I can turn the lead pot off. But yeah, so these are the 1/16 ounce. Again, if you're watching this because you want to do it, this is the freestyle jig, FST 6SA. And it's got the smaller sizes. It's the bigger freestyle jig. It's kind of like those VMC. Actually, it's almost exactly like those VMC jigs. I made some for my buddy Neil over at Neil Bone Fishing. And I even painted them just like the VMC jigs, like with the dual color paint jobs on them. It was pretty cool. Powder paints, actually. A lot of cool stuff you can do with it. Okay, yeah, I heard you can do that. You can get them without nicotine. Which, in that case, you mean you've already kicked the habit at that point, right? Now it's just the, I guess the boredom part. For me, it was clearly snacks. But I've also not been very active lately. With the holidays, everything slows down for me. I got family in town and all that good stuff. So I haven't even been fishing in 3 weeks, which really sucks. I wanted to go this morning, but I also really wanted to sleep. I was really freaking tired. But that'll all start turning around here pretty soon. Yeah. Just stab myself. Yes, when you stab yourself live, you're not allowed to squeal. I guess I could. Probably better for views. But, ow, I just did it again. So either you or Chris are going to get a bunch of my DNA. You already got a bunch of it. Because I stab myself. Every batch I make, I end up stabbing myself a little bit. They're just good, sharp hooks. But if you ever buy jigs from a small-time jig maker like me, this is how it goes. I mean, every single one, I got to touch it 3 or 4 times to get it done. So it's you're definitely fishing with something a little more special than what you pick up off the shelf. That's for sure. Hey, Neil, we were just talking about you, buddy. Neil Bone Fishing, all good things, I promise. Hope you make the live Friday. Duckett's got your name on it. I actually will absolutely be there Friday. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be. So I will definitely be there. Although I tell you what, you know, I, as a member of the Triangle, I'm privy to some of the stuff in the giveaway, and I could use a pair of them Bruiser bait gloves. Those are pretty nice looking, man. I got a pair of fish monkeys for Christmas, and normally I fish with like gloves you've ever seen me use are the Piss of Fun or the what's that other brand that starts with a, you know what I'm talking about. You see them all over Amazon, and they're very good gloves. I have nothing against them at all whatsoever. They do work. They fit well. They do everything they say they're supposed to do. But there's a true difference between them and the Fish Monkey gloves, which I didn't realize until, of course, I owned a pair of the Fish Monkeys. But they're very, very nice. And if Bruiser's apparel is anything like their baits, I'm sure they're great quality too, because they do make some great stuff. James is out. All right, buddy. Thanks again for popping in. I appreciate it. Absolutely. Go catch some, dude. Yeah, Neil probably just woke up. Neil likes to sleep in. He probably, hey, Kenny MacArthur, Chatterbait. What's up, bud? Well, a couple new people in here. Then you guys missed a lot of the molding process already. I had about 80 in total of these little crappie jigs I got to make. They're kind of like the little VMC moon eye, moon face, whatever those are called. I'll get you a little better. So that's what I'm making. If I can get it. There it is. That's what I'm making. James from Crankin' and Yankin' and Chris from Bogley's Keeping It Real ordered a bunch. So it's kind of dreary down here in South Florida, so I'm fighting the weather. And I got to get the lead part done, you know, prior to the rain coming down. So I figure this part I can do, you know, anytime. But just hit each one with a little bit of a file, get all that little rough edge off of there, and then I can paint them up later. That's a good rainy day activity. Oh, yeah. Car batteries dead. Your car battery's been dead a few times, Neil. Okay, good. You like the gloves so far? I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure it's they make a quality product, Bruiser, so I'm sure their gloves are just fine. They are probably no better, or they're probably definitely no worse than the look around and see if I have a pair. Oh, I do. Nope, I lied. I don't. Those are my fish monkeys. And these are like second skin, man. You got to really, you know, fight to get those things off. But I'm looking forward to fishing with them soon. In fact, for Christmas, I actually got an additional GoPro camera. So I will have permanently 2 angles on the kayak, which is pretty great. And so I got the lead still nice and hot. I got a bunch of molds here. You guys are pretty much familiar with what I make. If anybody wants to see me make something, let me know. If not, I'll just continue to talk and clean these up. Because once I get all these clean, then I can paint them. I would paint them on camera, but I don't know how obnoxious the heat gun will be in my microphone here. I never had a pair of the Hook gloves. I've had a couple of their shirts, though. I like their shirts. They're expensive as all hell, but, you know, good quality. Do you kayak fish the STA? What's the STA? What'd I miss? Okay, so, I mean, well, I tell you what, the answer is going to be no anyway, because the only places I've put my kayak so far has been the local canal right here in my development, where in that first video you saw me literally walking it. That's what I do. I just walk from the house. And then since I got the pickup truck now, I went and I tossed it in this little BS lake that I know about. I purposely tossed it in that lake because there are no snakehead in there. And I was dying to get my first bass in the kayak. But the second I got the thing all loaded up and dropped in the water, the rain came down pretty hard. And then when it stopped raining, I dropped it back in and the wind just pushed me to one side of the lake. So no video even came out of that. That was a fun day. I made up some of my own curse words that day. Well, yeah, I guess the cold to do that. Yeah, I don't have any of their shirts either. I'm going to have to get one of those too. I keep meaning to, and then I go to place an order, and then, you know, things go. I don't. But I've been ordering a lot less from Tackle Warehouse lately. You guys, I think a few of you have heard me gripe about their new website, the way they did their holiday sales this year. Really kind of sucked. But I did get all those great deals over at Shop Carl's, which I probably would not have gotten had I been shopping at Tackle Warehouse. Yes, thank you, John, for reminding people. Please hit that thumbs up. I don't think we're going to do this. I mean, I went on this at 2. It's a quarter till, so maybe another 15-minute stops. I can't imagine anybody wants to listen to me drone on for too long. What I think I might do, maybe I'll do a couple more of these. Maybe get a few of these painted. I'll try one. You guys let me know if the sound of the heat gun is too much. Oh, okay. Off 27. No. I know exactly where that is. I didn't know that was the appropriate abbreviation. I know exactly where that is. But no, I've never fished it. I actually do want to take it up with me for Donkey Land or one of these days. But first, I just want to go actually, hang out at Donkey Land with John and Lindy, Doc. Yeah, it's definitely nice to talk to you too, man. I appreciate it. It's been quiet on my end. I know I haven't posted a video in about a month, and this is this week's video. That's how this is going to work. But I do have a new mold coming, so if that mold is decent, I will do a video on it the week after. Because, like I said before, I haven't even been fishing. I took 10 days off from work, and there was about 20 minutes of total sun in those 10 days. And, of course, I had family over, so after the holidays are for, right? Spend the time with family. I can go fishing anytime. So that's basically what I did. And like I said in one of my last videos, too, I haven't been bringing the camera with me fishing anyway. It's actually been kind of nice just getting back to enjoying fishing like I used to prior to YouTube. And you guys have seen me catch plenty of dinks. Doesn't change. Hey, Mr. Bogley, in the house, dude. Half of the ones I'm playing with right now are the ones you asked for. That's cool. I spoke to Chris a little while ago. He was at work, and he was hoping he'd be able to pop in. You made it, dude. I was just saying I'm probably only going to go till about 3 o'clock, so another 15 minutes or so. Unless a whole bunch of people show up and we start having a good time, then I'll stick around. But otherwise, I'm sorry you had to work on a Sunday, bro. That sucks. But you have to work holidays and stuff anyway, Chris, so I guess working Sunday don't bug you too much. I hear my neighbor's dog barking. I hope that's not bugging you guys too much. I don't know how much the microphone's picking up for that. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate the compliment, sir. I enjoy making them. Oops. Hold on. I think I found it. Knocked that one right out of my hand. Yep. There it is. I found it. I enjoy making them. So I make them for people. I never really intended to sell them and all that good stuff. I just like making them. If you missed the story earlier, I'll shorten it down for you. My dad and I used to make our own ammunition as a kid. So I got really good with messing with the lead and all that good stuff. So when I decided I wanted to stop painting crankbaits and go into, it was either going to be jigs or soft plastics, I went looking at it. I'm like, man, I already had the experience for the jigs. And you guys have seen, I don't have quite the display that Neil's got, but you guys have seen, I got quite a bit of soft plastics and stuff. So there's a bunch of stuff out there. And I think if I made my own, I'd buy less of what's out there. And I think I'd miss out on some things. Jigs are jigs. I use the quality of stuff that works for me, and it works for everybody else. I haven't heard too many complaints. But like I was saying earlier, how much I like those victory hooks. They're pretty decent hooks for what they are. But it's a fun hobby. I definitely recommend it. Some of you guys up north who have to, not fish for a whole season. It's something cool to do. Hold on. Let me catch up here. Snowstorm. Whose molds do you use? I use, I'll start with that. Do-it molds. And really for no other reason than they're just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. The do-it molds are pretty damn fantastic. They've got a bunch of cool, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14 15 because I know I got one up here that's actually not displayed because it's older. But they're relatively inexpensive for what they are. I know the soft plastic molds get kind of pricey, but these are all like, plus or minus $50 a piece. They're not crazy. They're good quality. The hook size is like printed on the inside of the mold itself in the aluminum. So it's, kind of idiot proof, They're really easy to modify if you want to. A hand file or a Dremel tool, if you got a steady enough hand, you can pretty much do anything you want. Sky's the limit. Let's keep going. So those molds I use. You got a snowstorm. Actually, Bass Boxing Outdoors and Neilbone Fishing both sent me videos the other day of the snow in their yard, which that's just incredible. So I've actually never seen snow, so that's pretty fun to me to be able to see that. It's one of the cool things about YouTube is getting to see all that stuff. Hey Neil, River Monster Bugly. Oh, small water charters. Thank you. That unnecessary, sir. Would greatly appreciate it. Very cool. That is, that's the first one I've ever gotten. Well, thank you, man. You go down in Parabellum history. I don't have a cowbell or anything, but I still say thank you very much. Yes, you were. I don't know. So with the delay, I don't know that. Yes, you were, in fact, the first super chat. The first one. Hopefully, I can get, with the live going and stuff, I can get my watch hours up a little bit, and because I want YouTube's money. I mean, I appreciate, the super chat, but I want YouTube's money, man. They're the ones who've been putting ads on my stuff. I want them to pay up. Oh, Captain's on board. Captain Lindia, officially captain. For those who don't know, they are doing crappy charters out of Lake Okeechobee. Correct me if I'm wrong, but please feel free to drop any and all of your contact information. If anybody's down here doing a charter, I know Ted from Off the Hook Outdoors has been out with them. Myself, Doc with Coastal Fever. I think you guys took Random J out. Yeah, a bunch of other channels around here have been hanging out on that pontoon. They'll put you on the fish, man. It's a great time. So please feel free to drop any and all of your information down in there so people can screenshot and contact you. Yeah, you were my first, John. Thank you for being gentle. One of my buddies, custom flipping, he modifies them. Yeah. And they're so easy to modify with the do-up molds, man. That's I don't know if that's what he's using or not, but they are crazy easy to modify with the do-up molds. In fact, I was saying earlier, I've used this mold so many times that it's kind of blown out. I can probably get in there with a file and clean up, the parts of it that aren't perfect anymore and reuse them. Because these are, again, they're not overly expensive. I've actually been working on a like full out custom, I designed it myself kind of jig, but I got to get it 100% because I can actually buy these molds blank and take them to a machine shop and have them cut for me with a CNC. But it's not cheap. Those machine shops are very, very proud of what they do, and they are not cheap. So I got to make sure I have everything 100% before I try to put it in production. But that would be pretty neat to have a jig head that I myself created for, it'll basically be for the way I fish, but it'd still be pretty cool. Oh, absolutely, yeah. And, drop links. I know I got a few mods in there. If y'all want to drop links, and I know there's not a whole bunch of people in here, but everybody who learns about you helps, right? Yeah, these are almost done. So I'll show you another finished product. These are the ones I have off the side. This is, let's see, this would be good for you to see, Chris. Now this is the 1/8 inch, or the 1/8 ounce rather, so it's a little bigger, but it'll show better on camera. But you asked for hot pink, so that's more or less what yours are going to look like. Hot pink and white. You would also ask for. Yep. Everything's mirrored. There we go. So more or less, that's what your jigs are going to look like, Chris. But as you can see, I burned through these things. I've been live for less than an hour, and I did start working on them beforehand. But you see how quick I can burn through them, even though they are a process. Yeah, that's why I've heard people say things like, like people who make their own soft plastics, they're really expensive to buy. And it's true. You can go buy a pack of Yum Dingers versus buying, from somebody who's making them themselves. But look how much more work goes into somebody. We're all making them one at a time. A lot more work goes into them. So they are worth it. But I think if I'm done pouring, I'm going to go ahead and turn the pot off. That way we can start cooling down. There we go. It's less of a turn off and more of an unplug kind of thing. So on this, I know y'all been getting a side view of me mostly, but it's worked out well for me because I can look here and read the chat and actually get work done. The first time I tried doing this, I was doing like this and I couldn't get anything done. So yeah, that would be pretty awesome. And I'm hoping I can get it right one of these days. I can make fortunately, with my woodworking skills and everything else, I can actually make like one-time use molds to pour to see if I'm getting everything kind of the shape I want it. To try to just get as much of it out of the way as possible, because the blank mold is only like $55 or something like that, $60. That's pretty cheap, and it comes with handles and everything. It's the time at the machine shop. Well, that's gonna be intimidating. I did one before. I only did the one prior to this, and I actually planned on doing a whole lot more. I just, it's been time for one. And two, I have an idea for doing this. And what I'd like to do is get myself doing jigs. And then there's a bunch of people out there, Off the Hook, Owl's Nest, Beard Zero, who make soft plastics. And I thought it'd be a pretty cool idea because you can do like multiple windows on StreamYard. So I figured I can do get somebody to host it on my channel, me making jigs, somebody else doing plastics. I think that'd be pretty cool. And if it went well, we can do like random giveaways throughout the live and stuff, match plastics to jigs and vice versa. I think that'd be kind of neat. But I hope to do more of the lives. I actually do enjoy them. Well, thank you, Neil. I enjoy them. Just picked you up, Bogley. That's funny. I actually saw a manatee thing that I wanted to send you guys, and I think I forgot to, but it was pretty. It was humorous. But I think we're about at that hour mark anyway. I got all the jigs poured and filed. I can wait for this to completely, cool off and get that shut down. I have an air filter up here that I actually run for about 45 minutes or so after I'm done, just to pick up whatever lead dust might be in the air. Just for safety purposes. But I think I am going to go ahead and call this one. I said it's been about an hour. So thank you guys very much for popping in. I do appreciate it. Again, I know it was kind of impromptu, weird day, weird time. But if everybody did come in, I do appreciate it. I'm just watching the last few comments roll through here. But again, thank you very much. John, I know your back's not feeling well, dude. So please rest up, feel better. And again, I appreciate y'all. I'm going to figure out which button ends this. And I haven't seen any of you. So Happy New Year to everybody. Found a couple more of my little Hershey Kisses of Death over here. Put those away. Boom. All right, guys. Thanks again. I appreciate you. How do I get this going?